the light we see from the sun, right? You go outside and you look, the light that's hitting the earth left the sun 8 minutes ago.
Which ruins my day every time I hear that, but go ahead.
So we're always, if the sun blew up 7 minutes ago, we wouldn't know it yet. A minute from now, we'd be having a bad day. But
Foreplay presented by Barstool Sports. We are back, and it is one of, if not the most excited Fore golf tournament championship major that I've ever been in my entire life. We have the Open, the 150th at St. Andrews, the old course. Been a lot of buildup. We were in Scotland for an entire week leading up to it. Tiger Woods is there. Rory McIlroy, I think, is potentially the favorite. A lot of storylines going in. Yet, on this very show, you are going to get a guest that I would argue is going to be more intriguing than anything else that we're going to talk about, because we have Dr. Eric Smith, our expert, the program scientist for James Webb Telescope program from NASA. Frankie got him on. The new images came in a couple days ago, maybe 48 hours ago, from the depths of the universe, from the gallery, and we peg him with questions about what the fuck is going on in the universe, what's going on with this telescope, what kind of images are we looking at, what do you know now that you didn't know then, what is the edge of the universe, is there an edge of the universe? A million questions we pepper him with. So that's coming up at the edge of the show. And we obviously have a lot to get into. Tiger press conference, Rory press conference, Mr. Slumbers press conference, the Open Championship, St. Andrew. There's a lot to get into, boys. But we're back stateside, I believe, all of us. Lurch looks like he's in a fucking classroom about ready to give some sort of presentation, which is nice. But we're back. You guys participated in a mini golf tournament, I believe, today.
Yeah, it's been an absolute grind. We're back in the States. Scotland was fucking amazing. We can all maybe touch on it a little bit when we do our Open preview. We just got back last night, and then we go straight to the Hamptons. We do the Barstool mini golf competition. It was amazing. Shout out to Hank and shout out to MB, the whole entire crew, Kelsey. Dave even put out a tweet today saying just like how insane of an operation it was. You had 50 members of Barstool content people, all different walks of life, all different characters. You got Frank the Tank, you got Clemmer, you've got fucking Kirk Minahan. It was just insane. Dave going crazy. We're not going to give away any spoilers, but I will just say that it's an amazing, amazing competition that came down to the end. It's something to look forward to in the next month or so. So we just kept it rolling. We went straight from St. Andrews to fucking whatever mini golf course we went to in East Hampton. So it was kind of a crazy 24 hours.
Yeah, Scotland's not close. I'll tell you that. Scotland is just not. It's not. I guess from Arizona, where I landed, it's not close at all. From New York, it's actually a pretty simple trip.
I agree with you. That's what I was going to say. It's far. I mean, you got to go across the Atlantic Ocean, which is a large body of water. But as far as like long flights go, this crew has done long flights. We've gone New York to LAX and then gone from LAX, walked right on another plane and flew to Melbourne, Australia. So it's like we know about long flights. And Edinburgh, it is 7 hours from New York City, which is like just a little bit more than New York City to LAX. So it is far, but it's not too terribly far. And I want to go back to Scotland at some point. It's a beautiful, beautiful country. Great golf. I think we were all stunned by Edinburgh and how beautiful that place is. We got to spend a couple hours there, walked around a little bit, ate lunch. You could spend 2 weeks there, and I don't think you'd be able to see everything. So, yeah, it's good to be back stateside. Good to participate in a mini golfing tournament. It's just been a whirlwind. This whole year for us has been a whirlwind, and we're just going to keep it rolling, I guess.
I do feel like we say that a lot, but I think that's a good sign that things continue to escalate in terms of the whirlwind degree, and it just go. It's
Definitely
great. It's a fantastic thing. When this podcast comes out, I mean, we'll be mere minutes away from watching the best players in the world play in the Open Championship. My alarm is set, I believe, for 4 a.m. Eastern time. I think Rory tees off at like 4 late in the 4s, just before 5 a.m. local time here in the Eastern time. So it's just kind of slaps you. I'm not going to make it. I used to do this all the time, but it's been such a crazy trip with us being 5-6 hours ahead, trying to get sleep, that I'll just die and cease to be a human being, because I'm 35 now and I can't just stay up all the time forever and ever. But I believe Paul Lawrie is going to hit the first tee shot at 2 in the morning.
I think it's 1:35 a.m. Eastern time, and then Tiger tees off at 9:35 Eastern time, 8 hours later.
Also, I've been watching so much live from coverage, and they went through this in good detail. I didn't even realize or remember that the Open Championship is the only championship that doesn't do first and 10th tees. They just send people off all day from the first tee, which makes sense because the sun is up perpetually.
Forever.
It just doesn't go down in the summer in Scotland. So it makes sense. They can literally send people off from 6 a.m. until 5 p.m. and you can just play golf. I mean, we did it ourselves. We teed off at like 6 and we finished and we were able to play fine. So it's going to be a long couple days of golf. I'm excited to get up. People are going nuts about the old course at St. Andrews, how firm and fast it is. Everybody's raving about that. I went through this afternoon because I was catching up from our travel. I watched Tiger's press conference start to finish. I watched Rory's press conference start to finish. I watched Colin Morikawa's press conference start to finish. You could not believe how many times these guys just said firm and fast. And they actually referenced, and Rory spoke very honestly about the fact that the fairways are faster than the greens. So like, that makes golf impossible when you're hitting drives from 300 yards out and the ball lands in a fairway that is faster than a green. And there are little sneaky bunkers everywhere, rough everywhere, gorse bushes everywhere, wind blowing. It's not supposed to blow as much as it did throughout the week, but it's going to blow a decent amount, 10 to 15 miles an hour. And they could be wrong about the forecast, so it might blow more. It's going to be fucking sneaky hard, I think, out there.
It's going to be epic. I can't wait. I mean, we're just there. We just felt those grounds walking around that course. It's weird to say, Riggs, if you came back to your homeland in Arizona, like I'll watch the first tee shot tonight, Wednesday night, and then go to bed and then see, I'll get up early and watch Tiger hit it off and things like that because I'm just can't believe, that he's in this thing 150th. And like, I firmly believe Tiger's got a real chance to win. And yeah, it's a crazy idea that you need to hit it on the green to like slow the ball down. And just in terms of like that mindset, like you need to hit it on the green to have any and all chance of like stopping the thing.
Yeah, I saw Tiger say in his presser, he was like, yeah, it's weird to think about if you have a putt from 10 yards off the green,
right?
You have to play for the ball to roll faster before it gets to the green than you do after. And he's like, that just takes getting used to, because he said the greens, and Rory said this thing too, the greens are pretty pure and they got a little bit of greenness to them. We saw them, we were looking at them, like the greens don't look burned out yet. They'll probably get there Saturday, Sunday, but the greens are pretty pure. They're green. They're a little receptive. The first bounce is firm. They've been there for 600 years, but like that difference between the fairway and the greens, and like what the RNA is going to do, and they're going to put tight pin locations because they don't want the score to be a million under par. It's just going to be a really, really, really interesting tournament, not even considering the history and the big names and the storylines, just from the actual golf. Like we talk a lot. We've talked for 5 years now on this podcast every year about how I think from a pure golf spectating vantage point, when you watch television coverage of the Open Championship, it is more interesting than any other tournament that you watch because the ball will just bounce and like roll into a fucking asinine spot that that person doesn't believe their ball is in, and it's fucking hilarious to watch as an observer. And we're gonna get that at St. Andrews at the 150th with Tiger Woods playing. It's just a lot to look forward to, boys.
It's truly incredible. Oh, I think I fucked up my mic there. Hold on. It's truly incredible. It's the fact that whenever we're there, it always adds to it. For me specifically, because I just picture myself walking up 17, walking up 18.
Right, it just becomes tangible. You're like, I was just there. I just felt those grounds. It's like
when I was there FaceTiming my dad. When I was there FaceTiming my dad, I was like, pay attention to this, and then when you're watching it on TV, picture that, like hopefully Tiger's walking up this fairway like to go win the thing. It's such a cool moment. There's a lot of guys to be excited about. It's not just Tiger Woods. There's a lot of good golf being played. I mean, the leaderboard, I'm assuming, is going to be absolutely stacked, and it's going to be the toughest test in golf. So many cool shot-shaping shots. You got to play with the ground. It's just how golf was meant to be played. And you've got guys that like just can't handle it, which is also fun to watch. Like certain guys just aren't link style golfers, and that adds to why the Open is super fun. some people just can't handle Augusta. They just they find themselves in the wrong spots at Augusta on the greens and they can't do it. They're just perennial bad players at Augusta National. Same thing in Scotland. And it'll be fun to see if any guys can get over the hump. And then also the thing I'm looking forward to is our guy Max Homa and Matty Fitz playing with Tiger. How can they handle that? Teeing off with the absolute living legend that is Tiger Woods at the 150th fucking Open. You have to tee off next to Tiger. Max Homa's already tweeting about how awesome it's going to be. He doesn't care how fucking, what did he call it? He's like, it might be childish or whatever he said, or it might be, what's the word I'm looking for? What did he use? What did he tweet?
Let me look it up. I can Google it or just search it on Twitter.
I can't even think of the word.
Yeah, he had a great tweet. I don't know what it was either.
I can't think of the word.
I agree. It's going to be.
Oh, he called it corny.
Corny. It might be corny.
Yeah, it's corny, but who cares? I'm playing with the freaking goat.
That's awesome, man. The fact that guy, when we watch TV, knows that he's playing with the GOAT and he's going to be soaking it all in. That's all you want. You want to learn these guys' personalities, and Max Homa brings you into that world. We know exactly how he's feeling on the first tee. It's fucking amazing. So
how epic is that, though? He signs up, playing in the Open at St. Andrews, and he's got Tiger Woods for 2 days. I mean,
a good tee time.
It's insane.
It's like showing up to your local muni and just getting you just get paired up with a really good guy or a really good golfer. It's like that was just a good tee time. Got really lucky with that pairing. He's just got a fucking good tee time.
It's super cool. I want to get into a couple of Scotty Scheffler. He had a good quote about what to expect. And so did Joe Greiner, who was Max Homa's caddy. First, I want to talk about Whoop. Whoop is the world's most powerful personalized digital fitness and health coach, an official fitness wearable of the PGA and LPGA tours. I have to credit Whoop because last night passed the fuck out. Been crazy travel, time zones, your brain's in a weird spot, doesn't know where you're at, what country you're in, what mindset you're in. Last night I got 7.5 hours of sleep, woke up at an 82% recovery, felt like an amazing day. And when you wake up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, shout out to D-Generation X, and you have this little green circle right there,
so good.
That just is like, you inject that into your veins because it feels like it's green, it's positive, it's healthy, and you're rolling. Only Whoop does that. Only Whoop does that. Only that incredible fitness wearable gives you that kind of confidence and feedback on what you're doing. You can monitor your recovery, sleep, training, and health with personalized recommendations and coaching feedback with Whoop and the new Whoop 4.0. The Whoop 4.0 is smaller, smarter, and designed with new biometric tracking. I got the Whoop 4.0 right here. Trent's got it as well. It's nice green, a little spring green, we might call it. New biometric tracking, including skin temperature, blood oxygen, and the new haptic alarm, which we've gone into many times. It's absolutely excellent. Go to whoop.com, enter the code FORE, that's FORE, to save 15% off at checkout. That's whoop.com, enter the code FORE to save 15% off at checkout. And look, I know we're talking a lot about this tournament. I want to get into a couple of these quotes, but from a golf standpoint and architecture versus views and all of this, you really can't, no matter who you are, no matter what kind of architect you are, you cannot compete with 600 years of history and of a course being there and maturing and firming out to a point where every single slope on this golf course dramatically affects a shot, to where Rory was saying in his presser, I think people have to lay back because if you hit a drive up near a green, the fairways are so firm, and the greens, while yes, they're green and luscious, the first bounce is so firm that if you're up near the greens within 20, 30, 40 yards, you cannot hit anything close to a full shot that can enact spin, that can get the ball close to holes. The RNA is not going to have wind, according to the forecast, like they obviously would love to have. So they're going to have to tuck pen locations in order to keep St. Andrews and the test of time and all that. So they're going to have to tuck pens. So to get balls close to greens, even though on a lot of these holes, guys are going to be able to absolutely rip drives up near the greens are so tricked out and are so firm, and the conditions and the links golf is so fucking linksy to what makes all the architecture geeks want to come themselves, that you literally are going to have to lay back and not hit it up near the green, is what Rory is saying. Makes me so excited because on every PGA Tour event that you watch, it's pretty fucking soft and pathetic in terms of the course presentation. And a guy, you just watch him over and over and over again. They just throw wedges in, spin it, one hop, check, stop, and they have a putt from 2 to like 9 feet for birdie. And whoever makes the most of those just wins by a million. And it's great. And what you're going to get here is going to be guys have to genuinely think their way through this fucking place. And like Tiger Woods has been hitting bump and runs with a 4-iron. He's walking his way around, hitting short game shots at the oldest course in the world with a fucking 4-iron. So if that doesn't make you want to turn on your television and watch what the hell's going on, I don't know what will, because that is interesting. It's different. You never get it when you watch golf. And they're playing for probably the coolest prize in the history of golf, which is the 150th anniversary. Like, I think the only thing cooler to win would be the first Open Championship. Like, I don't know how you can win something in golf that is cooler than winning the 150th. Rory said that. Tiger said that. Everybody has said that. And now we get to just watch them go try to play this course competing for that. It's just fucking super exciting.
Really yeah, it is. I mean, like, it's this or Augusta, but I think this is better than Augusta when it's at the old course. Like,
yeah,
Riggs, I think you're going to have to fight your own self to be like, you wake up just because your body's like, dude, the Open's going. You just roll over and just turn it on, and now you're just up at 3 a.m. and you're like, yeah, all right, well, I watched golf from like 3 to, I don't know, midnight, because the sun truly, if you visit Scotland this time, it goes down at, I think, 11 or maybe closer to midnight, and then it's back up again at 3 a.m. It's the most outrageous, like, sun cycle of all time. But, like, I think we're all just going to wake up and be like, nope, TV's on. Like, Riggs, you're in a hotel room. That's the easiest flip on of a TV that there ever is.
It'll be on when I go to sleep. Things going to be fucking ready to go.
Right. So it's just like, I'm giddy about it. Like, I can't wait to watch it all. We were just there walking the ground, seeing people in bunkers. Like, you know, I can't wait to see somebody just in an impossible lie with their leg flared out to the side, looking at their caddy being like, dude, what do we do here? I forget who it was the other day, but they putted it backwards to give themselves a lie in a bunker. Like, all that stuff is just going to be epic. So yeah, I mean, like, it's the best. I like, it's going to be so fun. And then Saturday and Sunday morning, wake up, grab a cocktail, and then you're just watching the Open in the morning. You can't beat it. So pumped for it to be here, and then obviously to have just been there, like, feeling the atmosphere, feeling the energy. I mean, it's the Open. We got Tiger Woods playing in the Open. He's going to tee it up. Just ecstatic about this weekend.
I think he's going to win.
Couple days ago.
I
think he has to win.
We got Tiger Woods walking. He's walked 1 million holes out there this week.
Is flipping on a TV at a hotel easier than at your house? Is that what you said?
It feels easier because there's only like one apparatus. Like, you just have the clicker in there and then like some crummy like phone. You know what I mean?
So I would say it's like the hardest flipping on a TV experience I ever have, because it's like
you're jaded because you texted me the other night when we were in Scotland that you couldn't find your remote, and I was like,
and it was embarrassing. And Nate Bargatze has a bit about it in his current rotation of jokes. If you go see him on tour, but it's very funny about like having to ask the concierge a question that you know they're going to think you're an idiot about, like something like, where's the remote? And you just like don't ask them. It's very funny. I'll let him.
Trent and I had to do it with the AC unit. Neither of us could figure out how to get our AC on. So
my point about these fucking TVs in hotel rooms is like you turn on the power and you're not on channels yet. You have like a 2-minute load up screen. You've got some sort of layout that's on front that's like, welcome to this hotel. Like, do you want the connections? Do you want the streaming? Do you want the guide? And it's just like, all right. And it's always delayed. You like hit like channel up, and then it's like a second, and then you hit 2 channels up, and it's like, oh, now we're going to go 3. You ever have that happen to you where it won't catch up? It's delayed. So you're hitting it to get to 36, and it's like, I don't know where I'm at, and it goes over. It's almost like it like runs too fast and gets to 39.
Oh. I will say, to defend Lurch a little bit, the one thing I will say is that hotel rooms are sort of, if they're doing it right, they're simplistic enough that they know the TV is like the focal point, right? Whereas like if you have an actual room in your home, you might have photographs and like you care about the design or the aesthetic of the room. This is a functionality utilitarian situation here when you're at a fucking hotel. That TV is plastered in front of your face. There's a fucking remote and like a bar of soap when you arrive, and those are the only 2 things that they give you. So like it is pretty much like, this is in front of your grill piece. Here's how you operate it with this little thing here. And if you can't figure that out, like we can't, I'm sorry.
There's nothing more simple than your own remote. Your own remote's like your own deck. It's just like, you know it like the back of your hand. I know my way around my remote like you wouldn't believe. It's crazy. When I'm in a new room, it's like, what the fuck is this little apparatus? Whatever. I'm not going to harp on that comment too long. I want to say what Trent Daddy said. You need to make that point again. Tiger Woods has walked a lot of holes of this golf course.
I think it was 58, right?
Yeah. He's walked a lot of golf.
Guys. That's
and I have to say, in that Champions Challenge thing, he looked fucking amazing. He's been driving greens. He's looked absolutely excellent. He's got all the shots. They're zooming in on him when he's on the fucking live from coverage on the range. And again, he looks absolutely excellent. He's an artist around this place. He's a magician. He likes to pick his way around and strategize. He's playing chess while the other guys are playing checkers. He's won in the year 2000, when he didn't hit a single ball into 112 bunkers that they have on this fucking golf course. He beat the field by 8 shots. And he said afterwards, when asked, he said, I hit the ball better there than I did at Pebble Beach 3 weeks before when he won by 15. They came back in 2005. He won by 5 shots. He had a new swing. He was on the Hank Haney train at that point, not on the Butch Harmon train. Friend of the program, probably the best show we've ever done. So totally new golf swing. He still won by 5. He interrupted a fucking interviewer today yesterday who said, hey, you've said a few times this is one of your favorite courses. He goes, no, this is my favorite golf course. So he loves this place to death. He literally sat out the United States Open at the TCC, Brookline, Francis we met, the whole fucking deal. He sat that thing out so that he could focus on this event and make sure he was comfortable for this event. He has said, walking around and in his interview, that it's very obvious this championship means more than any other because it's 150th, it's the old course, the whole shebang. And if there was somebody who's going to win this fucking golf tournament, why wouldn't it be Tiger Woods, boys?
Right. He's soaking it up and enjoying it and playing so much golf out there that he had people thinking, and he put it in my head a little bit, that he was going to retire after this tournament. Now, it probably is true that this is likely the last time he'll be able to play at a high level when the Open Championship is at the old course, because it's going to be a few years down the line. He's already up there. His body's not getting any younger. That leg is, we all know what that leg is. But he really is. He looks like a kid in a candy store. There's clips of him with Rory. There's clips of him with John Daly. Like, everybody's hugging. Everybody's having a good time. And he's really soaking it up. So, it'd be the cherry on top if he could just win the whole fucking thing.
For a mere mortal, this would be too much anticipation and way too much hype for someone to then go out and win the championship that we're talking about. Someone's this excited, this much talk about him. They're like, I waited for this one. In the game of golf, professional golf, like the odds of you winning a tournament are like 0%. The fact that we're like, he saved himself to go win this one, and then like we're saying he's probably going to go do it, just speaks to how insanely amazing and competitive he is at this game. Think about that. Like, he could play out of his fucking bird and still finish, 7 strokes off the lead. Like, you know what I mean? That's just the way professional golf works. He could do everything he wanted to do and still lose because someone else was just better.
But he could have also, that could have happened throughout the entire 2000s. Like,
right, I know. Right.
In the year 2000, like somebody could have just beat him, but yet he just won every fucking
time. I know.
Like,
it's
he's
crazy.
Just better than other people. And I know, because I've heard all kinds of people are worried about the old course. People were worried that the old course is 600 fucking years old. And we had Mr. St. Andrews, Roger McStravick, was telling us how they've been playing since the fucking 1400s. And you think in your own mind, how the fuck can a course that is that old, that got lit up a little bit in 2015, that's not supposed to have crazy wind, not have people shoot 8 million under par? And I saw a quote from Scotty Scheffler that said, I would hate to be a caddy this week. It is so hard. And I got a quote myself from Joe Greiner, who is Max Homa's caddy, who they will be paired with Tiger Woods tomorrow when this tournament kicks off. And I asked him, how awesome is that place? And he said, pretty fun and hard. And I said, hard, you mean firm, or hard, you mean difficult? And he goes, fairways are rolling at 13 with crosswinds and bunkers everywhere. Yes, it's really hard. So I don't think people are going to shoot as low as others are anticipating. I heard a panic number that people are like, maybe somebody's going to shoot 30 under. Rory said at his press conference, which again, I watched back today because I wanted to hear every word. He said, I think somewhere in the teens will win this thing. He was like, I don't see somebody getting to 20 under par and winning. Yes, if they get to 20 under, I think they'll win by many. So if somebody wins this thing at, let's call it 15, 16 under par, I think that would be a massive victory for everyone, basically.
Yeah, no, I agree. Think about us playing in Scotland and how many times you'd hit it down the middle and then it just end up in a bunker, or you just like for us, it doesn't make that big of a difference because we played our own matches and they were super intense and we wanted to win them. But we had no expectations of trying to shoot a certain number out there. Yes, we had our own personal goals, but like if my ball went into the heather or into the bunker, I just chalked it up to we're in Scotland and that's a crazy lie and that's just what happened. When you're trying to play against the guys that you played against at Brookline and you're trying to play against the guys that you compete against on the PGA Tour every single week and you know that they're making birdies and they're making eagles and they're fucking chipping it close. For those guys to have these fairways running at 13s and running out into bunkers, that's like detrimental to their game. For you to find a bunker and the other guy not to. Like, they're not just a bunker, you're hitting the ball sideways. We've seen it. Like, it's just a wasted stroke. And at that level, in that type of tournament, in that type of championship, a wasted stroke is like, might as well be a bullet to the head. You're done. It's over. So I can't imagine how stressful it is for them to play at that high of a level. Imagine we were playing at that high of a level where you're like, every thing that you thought was going to happen now went wrong. You're done. It's over.
Well, yeah. I mean, each bunker is a stroke penalty. So if you're like, I'm going to be within, top players are probably all supposed to be like pre-week within 5 strokes of the lead. Every time you hit a bunker, you're just 1 stroke worse than that. Like,
right.
It's just, there are little pockets of almost water, like around the course. There's 112 little pockets of water that you can't hit into. And then also, if it's downwind, you got to fly one bunker and then stop it before the next one somehow, some way when they're rolling into 13, have huge hops. So it's like every shot that they take, I feel like, is a gutsy approach shot that they've got to hit and land in a certain area to have a successful hole. It's not like just pipe a drive, you're in a bunker, maybe it's a quarter stroke penalty on like the tour average. Like, it's fundamentally like a full stroke penalty if you're in some of these bunkers in some of like the spots that you can be. So yeah, I mean, it takes an insane amount of focus the whole way through. And like, yeah, you need to luck out maybe with a little weather to set yourself up going into the weekend. But I think to like that point, it just takes an insane amount of focus and effort to be like, all right, every hole, every shot, we got to be thinking where the wind is and then distances every time. And we got to be dialed in on those.
You know what could help you see those bunkers would be Shady Rays.
Sure would.
Shady Rays is the official sunglasses of Foreplay. Shady Rays offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've ever worn, ever. Durable frames and extremely clear polarized lenses for on the greens and beyond. The polarization is what makes the difference. It brightens up the golf course, the undulations, the fescue, the bunkers, the reeds on the greens. You might think, why would I wear shades? It makes everything dark. I can't see. Oh, no. Shady Rays are so good. They're so high quality that it will improve your vision on the course. I wear them all the time. That's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by a lost and broken replacements situation that is the best in the business. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair. No questions asked. Swing into action and wear your Shady Rays with confidence. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com/foreplay for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. And in case you missed out, our exclusive collaboration with Shady Rays, the Barstool Golf Limited Edition, is available while supplies last at shadyrays.com/barstoolgolf. Discounts do not apply. shadyrays.com/barstoolgolf, 50% off 2+ pairs. shadyrays.com/foreplay. Go check them out. I'm extremely excited for all of this, for the entire events, the hoopla, the theater, if you will. I do have a question. I'm curious if other folks on the show would think if somebody shot 30 under to win, would that ruin it for you?
No, I don't care about
Depends
the final
how they
number.
did it.
I don't care about the final number as long as the final grouping is close. I just want competition towards the end. I'm rarely rooting for the golf course. I saw a lot of tweets about like, how are you not rooting for the golf course in St. Andrews? I think it's more impressive and more fun to actually watch the guys maneuver their way around an impossible golf course. We know the course is hard. If someone shoots 30 under, that has nothing to do with the difficulty of the golf course being easier or not. Like right now, the world we live in, we know that the facts are the golf course is extremely difficult. If someone goes out there and performs at an insanely high level and shoots ridiculously low, that's super impressive and awesome to watch.
If it's one guy, I'm fine with it. If it's a bunch of guys, I'm far less fine with it. Because it makes you worry about the future of that place. Like, can it withstand and fight off where the game is going? Like, if one guy just goes crazy and shoots 30 under and the rest are at like 19 or whatever.
Like DJ at TBC Boston.
Yeah.
TBC Boston when he won by like 12. Yeah.
Right. If that happens, I'm fine with it. But if a bunch of guys are just peppering that place and they just kill it, and the weather is, I guess the weather isn't supposed to be as extreme as it can be. So that obviously plays into it because weather is a huge factor there. But it would make me concerned about the longevity. The longevity of it, which sounds insane because it's been there forever. And it's like, we had Rob McStravick on, and he was like, they've been playing here forever. So they're going to keep playing here forever. But if guys, the way the game is changing, they could kill that place if they get the right type of weather.
That would be that'd be awful. I agree with you. Like, I agree with a little bit of both points. I mean, like, fundamentally, if they're shooting 30 under, it's just an easier golf course, which is just frustrating. Because, like, I hope they don't just bomb it over everything and are just, like, two putting for birdies and, just making it really easy on the place. And then, like, you kind of hope the weather shows up, even though it's forecasted not to. Because, like, I like watching the Open and I like watching people, like, struggle. Like, the day we had at Dundonald, it's like, that's just like, you got to enjoy the pain of being like, it's not going to be perfect today. Golf's an imperfect game. And you've kind of like got to get behind that. And so if it's a clear day, like, I don't know, I think the old course is there forever, but it does make you think of like, will it be there forever if the whole group, T10 is 22 under? That's going to be pretty frustrating.
I couldn't agree more. And it's like, I don't know why in my own head I give a shit if somebody's 30 under. Like, if you win the tournament, you win the tournament. Who cares? But I don't want to see something as iconic as St. Andrews ruled obsolete. I want to see it stand the test of time. And I think that it will. But I do, like, everybody's kind of been watching the wind forecast and being like, if it doesn't blow, this could get a little dicey. And I think it's going to hold up. I really, truly do. I think something in the teens under par that wins it is totally legitimate. That's hard for any golf course to hold up that much against these guys is difficult because these guys are so unbelievably good. They hit it a million miles. They hit it dead straight. They putt it lights out. They're better than they've ever been. Tiger talked about that a lot, being like, all the new guys that come on the scene are better than they've ever been. They have better information than they've ever had, and they don't give a fuck about the challenge of coming out new. Colin Morikawa has already got a couple major championships and a handful of wins under his belt. He's like 24, whatever the fuck he is. And Tiger made the point too that, like, it used to be from 28 to like 34 were your prime years, and now guys are showing up. Jordan Spieth, Colin Morikawa, Tiger Woods back in his day, et cetera, where in your low 20s you can just go out there and dominate. So the fact that these players are as good as they are and the course still can stand the test of time is so incredibly impressive and cool, and speaks to the design and the firmness and how much it matters. And I don't want people to panic, because in 2010, Rory McIlroy went out there and shot 9 under 63. And then he followed it up with an 80 and didn't win the golf tournament. So I know that we're going to get it early. I know we're going to see guys are going to be 5 under through 6. They're going to come out hot, and people are going to be tweeting at us like, this place is a joke. They're going to be bitching. Wait until the fucking the chips are down, and Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening at St. Andrews. I really believe in this golf course. I believe that it's going to stand up to the test of time. I don't think it's going to be impossibly hard in terms of the score. We're used to US Opens and majors and all that. But I think if somebody is 13, 15, 17 under, wins this golf tournament for a course that, again, they played in the 1800s, they played open championships there. And really the only thing they've changed is that it's a little bit longer now than it used to be. If it's still holding up to these fucking guys with TaylorMade stealth drivers and mill grind 3 wedges that they can just drop in on a dime and roll it in with a TaylorMade spider putter that is impossible to roll offline, and it's still holding up in the teens under par, which is what Rory said, I think we're doing pretty fucking good.
Yeah, we got the Unders Club. So anyone that's listening to this that got in there, 18 under or better, you're getting the shirt of the century, honestly. We also have a brand new line of shirts. Go to the Barstool store. We've been releasing shirts right now. I think it's Megan that's been drawing these things. The open shirts that we came up with for St. Andrews and like the whole Scottish theme, the back of these shirts where it's like a crest, a Scottish crest, is the best shit I've ever seen in my life. They are the best shirts we've ever put out. So go and check them out. It is truly incredible how good this line of shirts are. Trent and I were driving with them on the way home from the Hamptons, just looking at them being like, what the hell? Dave saw me walking out with them being like, this is fire. And like, he's a guy that like likes cool shirts now.
I love a crest. Who doesn't love a crest?
Love a crest. Makes you feel distinguished. Also makes you feel like you went somewhere cool wearing that on your back. Go check this out. The whole merch team absolutely crushed this fucking release. It's an amazing collection that we have. And hopefully our Tiger does well because we've got one in the fucking bowels. If Tiger Woods gets off to a good start on Thursday, we're just going to release it. It's the best shirt of all time. It's the best.
Dude, they sent us that right before we came on. And I was like, we need Tiger to play well for a lot of reasons. As many reasons as you can think of. Us releasing that shirt and whatever else we put it on, that's near the top.
I got something going on below my desk. Yeah, did you hear that? That was my fucking.
That was your boner?
Was that a boner? Boner hitting the bottom of the desk.
I don't know.
That's how good. It might not reach that. It's a pretty high desk. I'd need the desk to be like on my lap.
So.
Oh wait, the other thing I was gonna say is also remember, and I hope that most people like with brains will understand that if there's no win, these guys are gonna go low. Like I don't think St. Andrews should be obsolete if these guys are just torching the place because. Remember when Justin Thomas was like, if you give us good conditions and no wind, we're going to shoot nothing out here. Like, he's like, if there's no wind involved and it's like soft conditions, we're going to shoot nothing. So like, yeah, St. Andrews is getting you the hard conditions, the hard ground, the things are rolling. But if there's no wind, they're going to torch the place. Like that is what it is. So we have to hope for a little bit of
But he said soft as well. He said if there's no wind and it's soft.
Right. So I'm saying we have half of it, which is good.
But you're right. If we get fucking no win and these guys could just rip it, I don't know. I don't know what to expect. That's what's so exciting going into it. Like going into a U.S. Open course, you sort of know. Like Matthew Fitzpatrick was 6 under, won the U.S. Open. I think John Rahm was somewhere around there as well. Like that is legit. These guys are so fucking good that if you hold the winner, the best player out of the 156 people to 6 under after 4 days of golf, less than 2 unders a day as a golf course, how good these fucking guys are. That is bananas. The guy that played the best, that was making every putt, was holing chips, was fucking hitting shots around fucking lips and bunkers on the 72nd hole. That guy that won the thing was only 6 under. That golf course is a mean motherfucker. And so for even St. Andrews, for any golf course to be able to hold up like that, it's just impressive. It's got to be difficult. The things that we're hearing from people is that it's extremely difficult. It's fast as shit. And the only thing that means when it's fast is that it's impossible to predict where your ball is going to end up. You cannot hold a fairway. If a fairway is running at a 13 or somewhere around there and you hit a drive that, by the way, when these guys hit drives are 165, 170, 180, 90 mile an hour ball speed, that puppy is in the air for 6, 7, 8 seconds. It lands going that fast and it's supposed to just end up in a good place. Are you fucking kidding me? That's like, you might as well shoot it into ice on the fucking Arctic. Like you don't know where it's going to stop. You have no clue. And now you got hundreds of bunkers all over the place, rough, fescue. If it's in the rough, you cannot predict where it's going to land on your approach shot, which you're hitting into the same kind of shit. So it's just fucking fascinating to watch. And you're going to have the backdrop of the old course. You got the whole fucking thing. I'm excited. The one question I have for you guys is, do you think it would be overall, for what we do, good or bad if a live golfer wins this Open Championship?
I would say
it's a good because it's storyline. Yeah, sorry,
Yeah,
right. I would say good because that would be some crazy shit if that happened, and that would just be something to talk about.
It's got to be a titan of the PGA Tour or a live guy for it to be something more than just being the St. Andrews Open winner. If it's, you know what I mean? If it's fucking run-of-the-mill Paul Casey or something, you know, I don't fucking know. Like,
yeah,
it's just that's the Open winner. St. Andrews was a really cool tournament, really cool championship. If it's a titan of the PGA Tour, fucking Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, Colin Morikawa, amazing. If it's fucking one of the guys from Live, insane storylines.
I don't
winning
know if
at
you
the
guys
home of
got
golf.
this.
Wow.
Did you guys? I got the feeling when I was over there with like caddies and just kind of like talking that the Scottish just like in general are not fans of like live tour players, whether it's greed or something like that, because that's not really in their culture. We talked about like, you know, the burger shop just being like, yep, the burger shop in town A is like still the same like named burger shop in town B. And so I don't know, a lot of my caddies were pretty like negative on the live tour and like kind of cussing it a little bit that way. And so I'd be interested if there's a live tour player, how well he gets treated by basically like the fan base in town. My gut is saying that like they're going to be like negatively rooted on, you know, booed, if you will, as they go around the old course if they're in contention. I don't know. I'll be interested to like watch and see, but that's kind of like the gut feel that I was getting from people in Scotland.
Yeah, I don't know. I actually didn't talk to I didn't talk to my caddies about it, but the culture over there is certainly different. I will say when we were walking around following JT and Tiger for a little bit on Sunday, I think that was, as we were walking back to our hotel, we ran into Phil's group, and Phil was hitting a drive, and I don't even remember who he was playing with. Danny Willett. He's playing with Danny Willett. But he was being treated normally by the crowd that day. I don't know if that's indicative of what it would be like if he were in contention, but that was the feel that I got watching him interact with the crowd on that particular tee box.
Fucking Johnny Gaudreau just went to the Columbus Blue Jackets, just out of the clouds. It was between the Islanders and the Devils, and the Blue Jackets just offered him 7 years, $9.8 million. He took it. It's every year. It's every year with this motherfucking team, the Islanders, where it's like it's between one team and the Islanders. Lou is really in the running, and I'm always getting geared up, getting a little boner on me, and then it's like, nope, sorry, kid, you got to go out there with Andy Andrioff this year. Fuck my life.
I picked up Frankie Borelli at 6:30 this morning to go to the Hamptons to play mini golf, and it's just, you know, you pull in the driveway,
right to it.
You get him in the car, and then there's like that 15 minutes or 10 minutes where it's like we're both just thinking like, man, it's early. But then the first thing that came out, he was like, I think the Islanders might get Johnny Gaudreau today, but I'm not. But he's like, but I'm not going to tweet about it because every time I tweet about them acquiring a player like that, they never get him. So it's good to see this thing come full circle. Although I'm bummed that they didn't get him.
It's fucking Columbus Blue Jackets. Who the fuck wants to play in Columbus? Everyone's like, oh, he doesn't want to play on that shit island. Everyone that plays here loves Long Island. They have like the best house ever. They live in Manhasset or Garden City. They belong to like 7 different country clubs. The best golf in the world on Long Island, and they get to go play hockey like every once in a while. It's a fucking sick life out here. Columbus is the worst.
Why didn't he want to stay in Calgary?
I don't know. I think he wants to be closer to his family, and they live on like the border of Jersey and PA. So like Columbus is a little bit of an easier trip, I guess. Now the Devils were supposed to be a front runner. He just told them to go fuck themselves. Johnny Gaudreau, I guess, is just a piece of shit.
Was he a fan of the Rangers growing up?
I think the Flyers.
Flyers.
Yeah, and then apparently the Flyers were mad. Like players in the Flyers were mad that they didn't go after him. He was mad. I don't know. It's just the Islanders need a guy like that. It's just sickening to me that they
Rangers had a hot one.
Trocheck. I mean, he's the same guy as Kopp, and they paid more money for him, but it is what it is.
No, he's not. He's better than that, but I agree.
Kopp
he's not great.
Kopp scored like 11 goals in the playoffs. You guys just like didn't offer him anything.
You know, what we're not going to be mad about is when we go to Myrtle Beach, boys.
I am really excited to go to Myrtle Beach. We've done a lot of traveling. We went to Scotland. We're going to all these different places. Myrtle Beach is a home game when it comes to like elite game time.
We need a home
changing.
Game. We're due for a home game.
Need a home game.
And dude, I have something for Myrtle Beach. I think we have this on camera somewhere. It's going to be in the travel series. But when we were in Scotland, we were talking to the caddies at one of the places. I can't remember what it was. It might have been Dundonald. And the caddies were saying to us, like, why do you guys come out here? Because it was whipping rain. And he goes, you guys have Myrtle Beach. Like, you've got Myrtle Beach in the United States. Why ever come here for golf? Like, they were saying, like, you've got beaches, bars, golf, beautiful weather. Everything that you need to have fun is there. Why do you come here in the cold? He's like, look. And it was like raining sideways. I'm like, I know, we're going there. We're fucking going to Myrtle Beach.
So Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, if you did not know, is the golf capital of the world, home to more than 70 golf courses, sandy white beaches, local breweries, hundreds of restaurant options, pretty much anything you could want to do. Myrtle Beach has it. Two of the courses you must visit during a trip to Myrtle Beach are Caledonia Golf and Fish Club and True Blue Golf Club. Two courses are just across the street from one another and are considered the crown jewels of Myrtle Beach. Sounds like a nice little 36-hole day. Both layouts have been named by all major publications as top 100 public courses in the United States of America. And simply put, Caledonia and True Blue are must-plays in Myrtle Beach. Visit CaledoniaGolfVacations.com to plan your golf trip and be sure to tell them Foreplay sent you. That's CaledoniaGolfVacations.com. Plan, play, enjoy yourselves. Go book your golf trip. The fun does not stop once you finish your round of golf at Caledonia and at True Blue. 19th hole overlooking the 18th green at Caledonia is a must with numerous restaurants, waterfront bars, fishing charters, and the beach all just minutes away. Visit CaledoniaGolfVacations.com. Tell them Foreplay sent you. All right. I have to say that I really don't know after this conversation how to proceed with tomorrow, to the point where I'm like, do I just stay up? Do I watch every single golf shot? Do I want to miss Paul Lawrie's first tee shot at like 1:30 in the fucking morning Eastern time? Do we know what time the leaders are going to tee off on Sunday? Like, this whole thing, the 5 hours ahead behind, we were there. So it feels like we should know. But I will say that now that I'm back, I'm almost more confused as to the time, because I keep wanting to go back 5 hours, not ahead 5 hours, and understand where we're at. And I kind of like that about the British Open as well, that it messes with your time, that it's almost like such a unique, cool experience that the times aren't even fucking correct, that they're all messed up and you can't comprehend why people are playing and where they're playing. So I don't know. I think the golf's on USA too.
Really?
Which is
USA?
That's funky.
Yeah, I saw that it's on like USA Network. I think it's on like Peacock and then USA and I saw that it's on USA for like a million hours. I think it's on USA for 12 hours straight or something.
It's like space. It's just expanding, but it's really not taking over anything else. It's not like USA had anything else on. So when our listeners listen to Dr. Eric Smith here in a little bit, that'll be pretty much it.
People are going to love this interview, by the way.
So good.
Oh, the best. The absolute best.
How'd mini golf go? I want to hear about, I mean, I know you can't give away the details. You can't give away the results.
I'll say that, like, well, yeah, I mean, it was run like a real tournament where there was a cut and then like repairings, and then like in the beginning it was almost like a shotgun start, and then at the end it was like out of the top maybe 20 people, it would go off like the worst guy that made the cut went off first, and then the final group went off at the end, just like a golf tournament.
It went 40-20-10 or 40-20-16.
Yeah, 40-20-16. Wow. And then there was like, for the last group, there was the holders, the name holders. And every time someone make a birdie, they'd change it from like whatever it was, 18 to 19. It was fucking sick. So no matter where you were in the course, you knew what you were doing. And like, without spoiling too much, like at one point I was on one side of the course and other guys were on the other side of the course, and I made a big putt. And it was like the roars from the early group were startling the leaders, and like they're like, what does he got going on over there? And I was making a surge. So yeah, no, it's it was fucking crazy, man. It was hyped up, a lot of fun. TaylorMade was all there.
Biolyte,
yep, the whole thing.
It was hot. Biolyte was necessary. It was hot as balls.
And this company Putterly, which is really cool, that you're going to learn a lot about. They're going to be working with Barstool a lot, especially with us. They're like this new fucking putting club / bar that they're popping up all around the country. It's going to be like 21 plus. You walk in and it's just like a mini golf course, but it's going to be all itemized to what city it's in. Like maybe you're like in a place that it's going to look like a library and like you have to putt through the books and like through, it's going to be fucking awesome. A really cool bar. They're sponsoring the whole thing. I just thought it was really well done. Hot as fuck. Like
Hot as fuck.
Sunburn right on your fucking asshole type sunburn. Like today we got it.
That's violent sunburn.
It was violent sunburn.
I think it's 108 here in Arizona. So yeah, you get that burn if you want it out this way.
I'm always amazed that people associate how hot it is outside with sunburn.
What do you mean?
Well, yeah, I mean,
because then you go into the UV index rigs. Is that where you're going? Because like that's really the tell. Because it could be like 80 with a.
Well, no, if 13. It's like hot out, that doesn't make the sun's not like the sun doesn't hurt you more if it's just like.
No, but like
that sounds wrong. No,
that's got to be wrong. Because if it's like 30, and like it's 30 and it's 100, you're gonna have a better chance of getting sunburn if it's 100, right?
Has to be true.
The UV index definitely has to do with heat, right? I mean, it can't be like you can't get a 9 UV index on like a 10-degree day, can you?
Where's Dr.
But okay, here's what I would ask: is that if it's 40 degrees out and you're playing golf, you think if it's 95 degrees out, like both, what I don't understand is when people are like, yeah, it's like chilly out, I don't need to wear sunscreen. I've never understood that.
No, that's another thing. I just think
that I agree, but I think we're talking about. You go ahead.
Well, when he's asked me like it was hot, and I'm like, yeah, man, it was bad. I got sunburnt today. Like it was brutal out there. It's just like a different type of hot. No cloud cover. You're never out of the fucking sun. There's no trees. It was just one of those days that was like, whoo, our skin was burning today, as opposed to like 85 and like kind of a breeze, and you kind of got away with it because whatever, there's cloud cover and it's just like there's a difference.
Today was a little more metaphorical almost, even like I think just hot.
I think mine was literal. So if I have a question, if it's all right, so if it's 55 degrees out and sunny, and you spend 2 hours out there, and you just stand there for 2 hours. If you were to spend those same 2 hours in 100-degree heat, is one sunburn going to be worse than the other? My answer, with no scientific evidence, would be yes, that the 100-degree sunburn is going to be worse than the 55-degree sunburn.
Has to be.
Mine's gonna be no, and I have no idea if that's true or not.
The answer would be: does UV index go up with heat?
I'm gonna Google it really fast.
You gonna Google that, Frankie?
Yeah.
Does UV index go up?
Or are they mutually exclusive
with heat?
Does air temperature affect the UV index? The short answer is no. There's a common notion that the hotter it is outside, the more likely you are to develop a sunburn. But the amount of UV radiation that reaches Earth on any given day is not affected by the air temperature.
That gave us both answers.
No, it didn't. Riggs is right.
Didn't the beginning of it say what we were saying?
It's saying the short answer is no. There's a common notion that the hotter it is outside, the more likely you are to develop a sunburn.
But is there some base level?
But then there's another one. It is true that sunburn is more likely in warmer seasons or climates.
That's the internet right there, babe.
Yeah, that
is the internet.
Well, I think that's saying that it's more likely in warmer seasons because the UV happens to be at a higher level during warmer. But
so there's some sort of baseline, like summer months is going to more likely
has
to get
higher. Yes, but
right.
I think
UV
Trent's
index.
Question is
right. I'm with you. Go for it.
Here's
Frank.
what I would say in general. I've always thought, and again, I didn't know the answer, but I've always thought it seems ridiculous to me that people think they're more likely to get sunburn if it's warmer out. Like the temperature is determined typically by like currents and fucking atmospheric stuff than it is by the thing that's 8.5 light minutes away. Then like like the sun UV doesn't change. The thing is like, it doesn't change if it's a little warmer out. It's just, you're still getting burned by it is the way that I've always thought about it.
It feels a little
Yeah, but in the winter, you're further away from the sun, so that definitely makes a difference. The UV index has to be lower.
Probably does. I wish we could actually ask Dr. Eric Smith.
Wow. I know. I don't like that would be such a great question for Dr. Eric Smith.
Should we send it to the man?
Next time.
There's one thing that I'll have to tell. He said some sort of number that we're gonna have to switch around. The 30,000. It ended up being wrong. He actually texted me saying I just did my calculations and that was an incorrect number. So maybe we'll edit around that. He gave us a number that he says is just exponentially wrong, and he just can't have that.
Just say it now, and then when people listen.
What was the number?
Well, it was the speck of dust that goes through the telescope. He says was traveling at 30 mile. 30.
He said it went
30,000 miles a second.
30,000 kilometers a second. It's actually 30.
Okay.
Oh,
it's pretty. Yeah, it was off.
well, that's
all right. Well, that's
incredibly fast.
Willing to admit his mistakes. I appreciate that about Dr.
30 kilometers a second.
That's what he said.
Still think about how fast that is.
It's fast,
Yeah, no,
it's about 30 kilometers a second. I think I said 30,000 kilometers a second. LOL, my bad. So, I mean, I think he knew right away.
What a
I think
guy.
he got
What a
off.
use
He
of
logged
LOL.
off and he's like, that seems way off. And he just wanted
I
to
love
make
this
sure he made
guy.
the correction.
Something about Dr. Eric Smith saying LOL,
Think
my
about-
bad. Is very
Yeah,
funny.
I agree.
Think about how fast something's going if it's going 30 kilometers a second.
It's fast.
Second.
Fast.
Super fast.
I mean, if you're going 60 miles in an hour, you're going fast as fuck. This thing's going 30 kilometers a second.
This is the second time we've had Dr. Eric Smith on, and this time we got a little bit more like, all right, we're going to ask you the real shit at the end, because there were some things that we just needed to get off our chest, and he answered them. I think the first time we were kind of feeling him out and didn't want to like disrespect his like level of fucking intellectual like knowingness of the fucking universe and his job as being the fucking astrophysics division chief scientist in Washington D.C. It's like you don't want to ask him like, where does God come from if the Big Bang is right? But this time we're like, you know what, motherfucker, and we didn't call him motherfucker, but you know what, dude, like, I want to know these fucking answers now. And he gave them to us.
You're throwing a lot of wheeze in there. There was a lot of you being like, what's this? What's next? What's after the thing you know the most about? Like, why does it go here? They were good questions because people want to know that shit. But it was just like, yeah, you're like, all right, you guys know all this information. And then what? And then what? And that's,
he's an amazing guest.
Shit.
He really is.
He is.
Quick translation of that 30 kilometers per second. It's 108,000 kilometers an hour, which is ungodly fast.
Yeah, it's ungodly fast.
Just because like a second, we don't talk about things that go in a per second, but just thinking about 108,000 kilometers every hour is just, that's
I mentioned this
ungodly.
before we started recording, but I think it needs to soak in for the listeners that I think this might be like the most relevantly impressive guest we've ever had when it comes to like what he did for the last 20 years to launch this thing into space. It has now produced a picture and multiple pictures that have now blown the minds of the entire world. This is a man that got this done. He went to fucking DC, got the funding, went in there, worked with his colleagues, had all these like papers written on like how it was going to be done. He worked on Hubble. He worked on this thing. He's working on the next one. He is a reason for why it's in space. And now we get to speak to him 24 hours after it was in Times Square. Like the photo of this release was in Times Square, like in a movie where people were looking up these images being like, holy shit. And he had something to do with that. Now we got him on our golf podcast.
I almost wanted to apologize to him because, and Riggs referenced it a little bit when we were talking to him, but we had said we were being assholes because we were seeing how excited Frankie was about it. Like being like, if there's not a little green man in these pictures, then I don't want to see it. Like that's fucking pointless if we're not going to see those things. But then I was actually we had just arrived at the Edinburgh airport. Is that where we flew out of the Scotland?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's when I first saw the picture of the deep universe picture where you see, it's the famous one that everybody's seen now. And I just like, I felt very human. I was just like, oh, like that's fucking amazing that like we're so small and this just proves that. Like all that bullshit about like I just want to see aliens, but then you see what they're actually trying to do and what they're trying to look at, and it's I knew when I saw that picture that it was going to be a picture that everyone was going to remember for the rest of their lives. Like if you have kids or grandkids, that's the picture you're probably going to look at some point and be like, the James Webb telescope fucking took this picture and the whole world stopped and was like, wow. Dude, that doesn't happen very often.
No, he's got a virtual background. I mean, our tax dollars are safe, so he's doing a great job. But he's got a virtual background where it's a cloud where stars are forming. And that just it's the coolest image in the world. Like that's when Riggs was like, yeah, it's kind of aliens or bust, that was right after he said, like, yeah, this is a cloud where stars are being created. And I was like, dude, you got to give him a little credit here. I mean, this is the most impressive thing ever. And then you're just like, yeah, it's kind of
we're
aliens
kind of
or
an
bust.
aliens or bust podcast. We're, you know.
3/4.
Yeah.
I've always been deep into whatever the fuck this thing came back with. I was going to
cool.
get hard on. And not only is it just like the creation, they're looking to see back in time how it was created.
Right.
That's how far these dust clouds are, that they're saying, all right, I want to see the creation of this, even though right now in this world we're living in, it's already created. How did it get there? And they're going back in time by looking at the light. It's crazy. You're going to listen to it. He was on for about
send it
30
to him
minutes.
because I feel like now we're over talking about things that we talked about with him. I feel like you should just hear it from the guy's mouth.
All right. You know what else is impressive from a scientific standpoint? TaylorMade. TaylorMade just delivers. If your putting game is unstable, grab yourself TaylorMade Spider GT and inject a dose of stability into your game. It sets a new standard in performance. What makes it even better is that you can make it your own with my Spider GT. We've all created our own custom TaylorMade Spider GTs. You can check out my St. Louis Blues flavored one, which is on their website. You can check out Frankie's, Trent's, Lurch's. You go check them out at tailormade.com/barstool. Shop Spider GT to create your own. Use the promo code Barstool at checkout for free shipping. The TaylorMade Spider GT, they are fantastic, electric, artistic, and also they will make you make more putts than you've ever made before in your entire life. And on top of that, the new TaylorMade Stealth Driver is probably the best design golf club in history. I watched Lurch hit it on average like 316 yards in fucking Scotland. I'm watching Tiger Woods, who barely has one leg, hitting Stealth Driver. That is his choice in terms of trying to perform the best at the biggest golf tournament in history that we've talked about a bunch. He's chosen the Stealth. Scotty Scheffler, Stealth. Rory McIlroy, Stealth. DJ, Stealth. The best players in the world are using the Stealth. So if you're not using one, you're just a crazy person. You're a moron. TaylorMade.com/Barstool. Use the promo code Barstool at checkout for free shipping and go check out the Spider GT. And then also on top of all of that, TaylorMade's just great people. We spent the entire week with them. They're very nice. They're fun. They're friendly. They love golf. They love helping people improve in golf. Trotty, who was on the last couple shows that we did, he legitimately doesn't get joy out of anything. He hates everything. And what he gets joy out of is actually people using TaylorMade golf clubs and improving their game. He legitimately loves that. And that's what's going to happen if you use TaylorMade. So go check out TaylorMade.com/Barstool. Use the promo code Barstool at checkout for free shipping. Here is a friend of the program now, probably the smartest person that we'll ever have on this show, Dr. Eric Smith from NASA.
Yes, he did.
There he is.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. What a background. That is so good. It's crazy.
Hey, doctor.
Hey, how's it going?
Doing great. How are you?
Yeah, better
Good,
now.
good.
We're doing better now for sure.
Quite the photo you got behind you there.
Yeah, this is one of Webb's first images that were released yesterday. It's the Carina Nebula. I think they call it the Cosmic Cliffs, and it really looks very three-dimensional. And these are, of course, all public now. You can go download them and blow them up and have them on your computer. And for all of them, you can just keep zooming in and in and in, and they get more amazing the closer you look.
Dr. Eric Smith, I got to say, you have a little bit of a pep to your step today. You've got a smile on your face. I can feel the energy is different today than it was last time. We're just going to hop right into this interview. If you can't already tell, we are joined by Dr. Eric Smith, the program scientist for James Webb Telescope Program. He also serves as the Astrophysics Division Chief Scientist in Washington, D.C. Dr. Eric Smith, for the second time, welcome to our golf podcast, the Foreplay Golf Podcast presented by Barstool Sports. Welcome to the show. The James Webb Telescope just released its first images to the world yesterday. We have you on the show today. It feels like our biggest get maybe ever, even with the Open happening.
You guys are hot
in
right
St.
now.
Andrews.
You guys are hot right
You
now.
guys are hot. How are you feeling right now?
It's a proud
we talked to you a
face
couple
right
months
there.
ago. How are you feeling right now?
So obviously it feels really good. I was going to say, I've been expecting this for literally decades now. And it's no surprise the images and the data are good. But when I first saw some of these things, I tell you, I actually kind of giggled because they were so good. I couldn't believe it.
Oh my gosh.
What do you mean by that? So talk to me. I've seen quite a few. You got the one behind you, which is incredible.
Yeah, so
We've
obviously
all
this is an audio podcast. For everybody that doesn't know, Dr. Eric Smith has the image as his virtual background. And that's just the proudest virtual background I've ever seen in my life. And it works so damn well. So I think I might switch to that image because it is the best one on the internet right now.
and the one that's really gone pretty viral, you can see just stars and colors and things everywhere. I tweeted the other day that it looks like the most, like background image on a computer that people could only imagine decades ago, and now it's a real photograph. So talk to me about, what are we actually looking at? What have you actually seen, Dr. Eric Smith, from NASA, when you've seen these photographs, these images come in from the telescope?
Okay, so first let me take a step back and say, why did we pick the things we did? And because you're going to learn different things from each of the objects we looked at. So the one that I'm using for my background is one we call cosmic cliffs. It's a nebula where stars are being born. It's a big giant dust cloud, light years across, and all along the sharp edge, there's a blue top part where you can see a lot of stars, and then there's this brownish orange piece below, and that's gas and dust. And because Webb's an infrared telescope, we can actually see further into that dust cloud than you could with Hubble. So Hubble looked at this thing and told us a lot of stuff, but now we can see forming stars in a way we couldn't with Hubble, just because of the wavelength. So immediately on this, we noticed some new features that we hadn't seen before. There's a young star that's shooting out jets of material. And near the top of this picture, there's a little blob of material. It's blasted out part of this cloud away up into the blue part of the dark part where all the stars are. So the people who study star formation, they're already going to town on this one. We took one of the deep universe, right? That's really what we built Webb for, was to try to find the first stars and galaxies. And now that's a picture. We used a bunch of different filters. Each filter was about 2 hours long. And we almost broke the record of the farthest object with what amounts to a practice swing, right? Took a practice swing, almost, drove the green with it, if you will.
Nice.
So I've been saying, we have a Ferrari. We're like maybe in second gear with it right now.
Really? So this was just, I saw a lot of the sneak peek was given out, and it's like this was done before the first cup of coffee in the morning. I saw that quote saying this image came in before breakfast. What does that actually mean? Was it like, let's see the capabilities of this thing, what it can actually do, and we'll see the image that's coming out, and now going forward it's going to be more dialed in, more detailed, even further? Yeah. We knew we wanted to take deep universe pictures, so we said, okay, we'll do a practice one. That's crazy.
Well, like 2 hours, we got as deeper than Hubble. Hubble took 2 weeks to take its picture. We did this in a couple hours, for each filter. So, like I say, we almost drove the green, not even trying.
Yeah, wow. It was so for me, I get swept up in all of this stuff. I get, it blows my mind. It makes me nervous. It makes me nauseous, the whole entire thing. Seeing that photo, we've seen a million different things in our lives, especially now in this day and age. You watch a movie, you watch guys going interstellar, going through space, whatever. This was the first time where I sat back, I looked at that deep universe photo, and I was like, man, that's the real thing. And like, there's galaxies all over there. And it was really a, where were you when you saw this picture moment? Did you feel that same energy around, your office and around NASA?
Yeah, I can remember when I was actually up at Space Telescope for a different meeting, and the team that was working on producing these things, the one guy came and he caught me in the hallway and said, hey, you want to see something? And I'm like, of course I do. So
yeah,
I went out to his office, and he pulled up all these things, and that's the point where I was almost giggling. I just couldn't believe how good the data were. And in that deep universe picture, which as the analogy's been put out there, it's about the same size on the sky if you held, like a little grain of sand at arm's length. So it's a really tiny patch of sky, and it's got about 7,000 or 8,000 galaxies in it.
God, I can't even imagine how excited you are right now. I can't even imagine how excited you are right now. So I gotta ask, because we in golf, we talk a lot about when you get a new golf course that has been on your bucket list for a while and you go check it off the list and you play, you always add at least 10 or 20, because during that round, you hear about this course, you hear about that course, you talk to the caddy, you talk to people in your group. Every course that you play, you add 10 more that you need to now play. Have you guys now, in the information that you've gotten in only a few days of photographs, images, have you now gotten infinite number of new questions that you need to try to answer?
This was a point that I made at a press conference yesterday. So people had to write their proposals of what they were going to do with Webb before it launched, right? We had to have time, and so we could have these programs lined up. So once it is operating like it is now, it had things to look at. And I know what was in those programs, and I said now, like, oh, you guys, you were too timid. We're going to think totally differently about how to write their proposals that'll be due in November, or actually they'll be due in January of next year. And so, yeah, now they've just been given a whole new set of courses they got to go and think about, because the first one they were too timid.
Wow, that is so amazing to think about.
And I was thinking, like, even on top of that, I guess in the same line of thinking, so Hubble obviously didn't give you the thermal imaging. So then now with this, you can see into that cloud. Is there anything in this image? Because I look at it and I think it's perfect. I think it's the most amazing image I've ever seen in my life that frustrates you, or in the next camera lens, you want to uncover X or Y within this image.
So even though we can see into these clouds where stars are forming, if you look in that cosmic cliff, the thing that's in my background, you can see there are some dark patches still. And so those are dust clouds that are so dense that even Webb's infrared vision can't penetrate them. So that tells us, that's kind of pointing towards where you need to go next. You need a telescope that sees farther into the infrared to try to see inside those dust clouds. So yeah, whenever you launch a new telescope, you make new discoveries, and then you go, now I need to know what to do next.
Truly Hard Seltzer, boys and girls, has been the go-to drink for the Barstool Classic for 4 straight years of the Barstool Classic. We've had massive guests have played in that tournament, from Jake Owen, Steph Curry, Kevin Kisner, many others. Nate Bargatze played in the Barstool Classic.
Brock Nelson, Anders Lee, a couple Islander boys have been in there. We got them coming back in Minnesota to drink some Truly Hard Seltzers. They're running it back. Vinny Lettieri, Brady Shea. I'm very excited to get with the hockey boys again. Truly Hard Seltzer just fucking delivers. Every person that drinks one is always blown away if it's their first time. And if it's not their first time, they're a recurring customer. They are so happy that they have them at the golf course for the Barstool Classic. I've got my fridge here at my new house stacked to the fucking gills with Truly Hard Seltzer, because every time I have someone come over, I throw them a Truly. It just sets the mood. All right, we're here for something. It's a hard seltzer. Let's go.
Truly's got over 30 flavors, so there's something for everyone. My favorite is Wild Berry. It's the OG. It's a classic, but they got a bunch of good flavors. They got the iced teas. They got a whole set of iced teas. Strawberry hibiscus, I believe our good friend Nate shot. That was his favorite. All cans have under 110 calories, 1 gram of sugar, and naturally gluten-free. Find Truly Hard Seltzer near you at trulyhardseltzer.com. That is trulyhardseltzer.com. Our favorite when it comes to the seltzer game. Massive supporters of what we do. They've delivered endless hours of fun to all of our fans, friends, people that have played in our tournaments, championships, ourselves, my apartment, home, wherever we go and drink and have a good time. Truly Hard Seltzer is there. Go to trulyhardseltzer.com and find a Truly near you.
Was one of the discoveries on these images, there was 5 or 6 that you swiped by, and one of them was a chart. And was that about an exoplanet that they were trying to see if there was condensation and maybe the possibility of rainfall and water on that planet, and that's what was discovered from that image?
So this was an exoplanet. We knew about it ahead of time. So we wanted to test out on a known target, how Webb did. And this particular exoplanet it's a planet that's not as massive as Jupiter. It's a little bigger in diameter, and it orbits its host star every 3 days. So it's really close in, and therefore it's very hot. It's about 1,000 degrees on the surface, at the cloud tops of this planet. So what the spectrum, those wiggly lines tell us is that there's water in this atmosphere. Now, it's obviously not liquid water at 1,000 degrees. It's superheated steam, basically. And the way that those wiggles, the details of them tell us that it's not just a uniform ball of steam, but they're clouds of material. And what we'll do now, again, that was just one pass of the planet in front of the star. So we'll go back and look and do several of them, and now we'll look for other things. Is there ammonia? Is there carbon dioxide? We'll start looking for other chemicals in the atmosphere.
Gosh.
So I have to ask about these images, because I know that what I'm looking at behind you is not precisely what the image looks like from the actual telescope, correct?
No, that's what it looks like.
So there's not any doctoring. There's not right? Because
there's not an Instagram filter on that. There's nothing.
I always thought there was infrared that you add to it and it looks more straight. That's exactly what it looks like.
Well, what they do, so our eyes, obviously, we can't see infrared. We see visible. And so what they do to make a picture like this is they say, just like for our eyes, blue is shorter wavelength, green is a little bit longer, red is the longest wavelength. They'll do the same thing with the infrared camera. It has a shortest wavelength, and they'll say, well, those data from that, we'll color them blue so we see them. So this is infrared colors translated into colors our eyes can see. But the blue things are the shortest wavelength, and the redder you get, the longer the wavelength. Another way to think of it is sometimes the blue are cooler and the blue are warmer and the red are cooler. So it's a translation of infrared light into visible light.
So that's just what it looks like.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Basic answer.
Amazing. So I have to ask, because we've talked about it a lot on this show. We've said aliens are bust. That's been, I think myself and Trent have said that many times. It's just in terms of, the Hubble or the Webb telescopes going out there, we talked so much about it on the last show. In fact, you referenced a lot of things already that we went through on the last show, and we got all jacked up for it. In terms of that hunt, have you learned anything yet? What's the next step in terms of learning about, what could be out there, exoplanets? Is it more likely, less likely? Where are we at in that whole hunt?
So because Webb has this pretty small field of view, we only really pointed at places we know to look, in other words. So we're going to use this, other missions discover things, and then we more or less bring the powerful eye of Webb to examine them in detail. So there's a bunch of known exoplanets already. And so people will just start looking at them with Webb to try to see what's in their atmosphere. For some nearby exoplanets that are big, like Jupiter-sized planets, we can even take a picture of them. Of course, it's just like a little dot of light. You don't see any features on them, but we'll actually start imaging those giant exoplanets. So we know they're going to do that, but we know it's going to do the deep universe stuff. And if you were to look at the set of proposals from the first year, there's almost 300 different targets or programs they're looking at. So, we're going to be looking at everything.
Yeah.
How that image behind you, which we've referenced a lot, which is one of the most beautiful things I think any human has ever looked at in the history of planet Earth and beyond. How far away is that?
So that's within our own galaxy. I don't recall right off the top of my head. If you actually just Google Carina Nebula, it's got its own Wikipedia page. It'll tell you how, it's a few tens of light years away. So this is sort of in our own neighborhood here.
And so how big is our galaxy? Because you mentioned holding up a grain of sand, you could see, what'd you say, 800
8,000.
8,000.
8,000 galaxies. Now, those galaxies are very far away. So
Right.
that's,
But
they're
you're
all
talking
the
about
same
this
size.
is tens of light years away, and it's in our galaxy. So it's like, it's just, I can't even comprehend.
Yeah. So our galaxy is, like 100,000 light years across. And so then you have to scale out of all those galaxies in that deep image. Some are much bigger than our galaxy and some are very small. So that's, kind of the next level down. You start analyzing what are in those data.
I don't understand how you take the photo. I don't understand how you take the photo. I understand that the photo's being taken, but like if it's so far away, how are we seeing the light? Like how far is Webb shooting out that infrared to actually capture that image is my question.
I also have another part to that question, because a few of the things that I've seen on social media and with the articles that I've read is that the images are looking into the past. Is that right?
Yeah, and so that's right. And this is how it works. So the speed of light is finite, right? It has 186,000 miles per second, but space is huge. So when that light has to cross it, it takes some time. Now, a lot of people remember that the light we see from the sun, right? You go outside and you look, the light that's hitting the earth left the sun 8 minutes ago.
Which ruins my day every time I hear that, but go ahead.
So we're always, if the sun blew up 7 minutes ago, we wouldn't know it yet. A minute from now, we'd be having a bad day. But so the farther away something is, the longer it has taken the light to get to us. So in that sense, we're seeing how that object looked many, many years ago. In that deep image, we see the farthest thing we've found in it so far. The light left that object 13.1 billion years ago, and it has been traveling for that long until it ran into the JWST mirror and it got captured by our detectors.
That's fake numbers.
Dr. Eric Smith, let me ask you a question. So if you're standing on the edge of the earth, you have a perfectly clear night, and you have a telescope in your hand that is magical powers, whatever, and you can see 10 light years away, and you're looking at someone on the edge of another planet 10 light years away, and that person is waving at you. If you are seeing that person was waving at you 10 years ago, is that correct?
Exactly. Yeah.
Nope.
And so if I wave back, they're not going to get the wave back.
Their
for
grandkids will. I mean, like, it's like,
Oh, man.
I understand what you're saying,
Right.
but I also don't. You know
Now,
what I
why
mean?
can't we bottle that up on Earth and use that as time travel?
Well, it only goes one way, right? You're just seeing in the past. You can't. It's actually one thing that I don't like, the time machine analogy some people say with a telescope, because that does make you think, oh, it's a machine. I can go one way.
Right.
No, it's just the fact that the speed of light is finite and space is really big.
Right.
We've got to figure out a way to capture light and then be able to go back like a catalog. You know what I mean? Like in real time.
So the way astronomers do that is they see some object that's close by and they go, okay, let's say this object is 100 light years away. So we know it looks like this. Now, if you find something that is similar to it, but farther away, that's an earlier look at that.
Yeah,
you can see it in a statistical sense evolve over time by finding similar objects at ever increasing distances.
Amazing. Truly, absolutely amazing.
I'm so glad that there's guys like you that are around, and then there's not just guys like the four of us who just know what this stuff is. That's amazing.
Well, but it's you guys, through your taxes, you're paying for all of this. And we really appreciate your support.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of support, I mean, NASA feels like it's having a really good, I'd say, a couple of years, right? Especially when you got like the Elon Musks of the world, who's not NASA, but like space exploration and space travel has just been a very big part of our last, I'd say, 5 years or so. For me in particular, I just see it on the internet all the time. This year, it's been huge with the release of the Webb telescope. Do you feel like, that NASA is almost like back right now? Like it's just in the news. People are talking about it. Young kids are getting into it. Older people are getting into it. What do you feel about that?
Well, I've always, I've always felt, of the opinion, like, we're NASA, we're kicking the universe in the ass every day kind of thing.
Right.
But this is a particularly good year, and we'll also have the launch of what we call our Artemis rocket, the biggest rocket in the world. That's going to launch later this year, and that will eventually take people back to the moon. So, yeah, there's a lot of big projects that are coming online, and private industry is getting into the game. Which I think is great, because that's more opportunities for satellites, for people, tourists eventually to go into space. So yeah, we're having a good year.
How far do you think tourists are from going into space?
Well, it depends on how much money you have right now. I think we're probably, a decade or more out from when people might think about, I'm going to save up for a space trip. Right now you got to have kind of a lot of disposable income. You don't save up for it. You already have it.
But you think in our lifetime, buddies are going to like, yeah, we want to go to Scotland for a golf trip, or let's just do a rip around space. That's going to happen?
I certainly hope so. Yeah, I think it's reasonable.
Wow. That'd be exciting.
Do we have a lot of trash in space? Like you say, all these like satellites and stuff. Is there, if you just go out of our atmosphere, is there just a bunch of like satellites around? Like, is it like visible where you're like, oh, look at all these satellites?
No, it's not going to be visible again, because space is really big. But there is a lot of debris. Most of it is super tiny, like paint flecks. If there's ever, sometimes countries shoot things at satellites to test their missile capability, and they blow up the satellite, and now there's a million parts around. So for low Earth orbit, things that like Hubble, it is becoming a concern that there's things that hit it all the time. In fact, if you go to the Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C., there's a camera that was on Hubble. They serviced it, they brought that camera back, they put a new one in. But that camera had a panel that was on the outside of the spacecraft. And you can see it's got all kinds of pock marks from little things hitting it. So there's a lot out there, but most of it's tiny. You couldn't really see it with your eye. And the big stuff is so far away, you have to know where to look to see it.
James Webb got hit by something very tiny, right? Was it a meteorite or like a little mini comet or something like that went right through one of the panels?
Yeah, it's a micrometeoroid. So again, something about, it's like a dust grain. But those dust grains are going about, 30,000 miles a second. So,
what?
So what happens is it essentially makes a little crater. It didn't go through the mirror, but it made a little crater, and it's noticeable. But thankfully for us, our mirror was made so well, so perfect, that even with that, we're still beating the specifications we have for the mirror. In fact, that's one. We were designed to be have our vision sharpest at a wavelength called 2 microns, an infrared wavelength. Hubble's sharpest vision is at a half a micron. We're actually limited, diffraction limited. Our best vision goes down to 1 micron, which means in some infrared parts of the spectrum we overlap with Hubble. We're even sharper vision than Hubble. So, we just beat the specs. Our launch was so perfect, we're going to be up in space for more than twice the time we thought. So it's all good.
What's the fastest? Yeah, sorry.
Well, so your launch was so perfect, you're going to be in space twice as long as you thought. That seems crazy to me, that the total time you could be in space would go derivatively all the way back to when you launched. How does that affect how long you could be in space?
Yeah, it's maybe I misspoke. It's not how long we'll be in space. The thing that limited our lifetime, the mission lifetime, was how much fuel we carried on the spacecraft. And we used that fuel out there in orbit to help us position the satellite over time. And so eventually you run out of fuel. And we were going to have to use some of that fuel to make sure we got into the perfect orbit we needed to be. But the rocket that launched us was so precise that we really didn't have to use any of that fuel to get into the good orbit. So now we have it for station keeping. And the original goal was 10 years, and now it's going to be more than 20.
Wow.
Amazing. When you are on the course, crushing drives and crushing beers, the last thing you're thinking about is hydration. That is true. How many times have we just become significantly dehydrated on the golf course, especially in Scotland, I have to say?
Yep.
Scotland, it happened a lot, and it happened a lot today. Out at the in the Hamptons, and
On
they were
the
sponsored
Hamptons?
by.
Is it in the Hamptons?
I think it's in the
It's
Hamptons.
in the Hamptons on Long Island.
In the Hamptons on Long Island. Just you guys make it so difficult out here.
It's really simple. Just figure it out.
You mean you guys, Trent?
Right. So, but they had Biolytes all over the place, and now what we just discussed earlier in the show is that heat may not affect whether or not you get burnt, but what it does affect is how much your body sweats. And what Biolyte does is it just replenishes all those nutrients. So everything you're sweating out, it'll put right back in. They've got all these delicious flavors. They had a bunch of stops throughout the mini golf tournament today. So every corner you turned, you drank a Biolyte and you felt instantly better. Delicious flavors, like I said. You got to get Biolyte if you're out on the course and it's hot and you're drinking. Just drink a couple of those and you're going to feel way better.
Biolyte is a physician-formulated recovery drink made with all natural ingredients that will help you feel better fast. The IV in a bottle contains the same amount of electrolytes as an IV bag. You'd have to drink 6.5 sports drinks to equal 1 Biolyte.
It's delicious. We had it today, like you're saying. It's delicious. It really is. And it makes you feel like you're doing something pretty important for your body. I mean,
Definitely.
6.5 waters, my goodness.
You can feel it in real time as you are drinking it. You're like, wow. You know, when the depths of your body from your arms to your organs are reaching out, being like, whatever that just came through the esophagus situation, I need some of that. You can feel when your whole body's reaching for it. That's what Biolyte does when you pour that sucker in. Go to drinkbiolyte.com/Barstool. Use the code FOREPLAY for 10% off your first Amazon order. That's drinkbiolyte.com/Barstool. Code FOREPLAY, 10% off your first Amazon order.
Now, what's the fastest object in space? If that's moving, if just one object is moving that fast, because now I'm looking and I'm just seeing things just zip around as fast as they ever could.
Well, it depends on what you mean by things. So the fastest thing is actually light. Right? Nothing can go faster than light. And if you go to some galaxies that have a giant black hole in the center, and material is swirling around that black hole, and some of it's getting blasted out. Some of the material there is moving close to the speed of light, some fraction of maybe a third of the speed of light or something. So those are the fastest material objects. I don't know, like what the fastest asteroid or comet is, but
okay.
How confident are you that nothing can go faster than the speed of light? Because that, to me, I mean, I get that we haven't tracked anything yet. We haven't seen anything yet. It seems inconceivable to us that something could go faster than the speed of light. But why would there be in the universe, which is incredibly complex and tough to predict, this arbitrary speed that is just not passable?
So that is actually one of the most basic questions in physics, and it was Einstein's special theory of relativity in 1905. He was the one that postulated this, that is the universal speed limit, the speed of light. And many people have tested that and tried to come up with theories that that's not the case. And they've been trying for more than a century and they haven't. So right now, our whole understanding of how the universe works is based upon this one fundamental fact that the speed of light is the speed limit. Nobody knows exactly why it is what it is. That's a super fundamental question.
Yeah. Wow. So you change that. If you change that fact, then everything that we know about it would change.
So the way physics works is right now, all the physics we know, that's the speed limit, that sets our understanding of physics. But it could be that someday in the future, somebody thinks of a different way of thinking about the universe. And the model we have now doesn't become incorrect. It just becomes less correct than the new model. And what do I mean by that? So before Einstein, everybody thought the universe worked like the way Isaac Newton said it worked. And it for several hundred years, that was the successful model of the universe. And almost all our everyday knowledge of the world uses what's called Newtonian physics, because we're never going close to the speed of light. But as more was learned, they found Newtonian physics breaks down, we need a better theory. So that's Einstein. Until it breaks down, we'll use it. When it breaks down, we'll get a better one.
Incredible. So,
amazing, absolutely amazing.
How, Dr. Eric, this Big Bang Theory, how confident are you guys in that puppy? Because I mean, that's billions of years ago. There's been string theory. There's been lots of things. Came up, early 1920, 27, something like that was when kind of Big Bang. How confident are we in the Big Bang Theory?
Actually, super confident. It is one of the best tested theories we have in physics. It's part of the what's called the standard model. So how fundamental particles are made, and how the universe created those. The data that you can measure and compare it to Big Bang theories, the agreement is super tight. So it is one of the best theories we have right now. Is it perfect out to hundreds of decimal places? No, but it's pretty damn good.
So you say it's one of the best tested. How does somebody test it?
So we first learned about what we call the cosmic microwave background in the 1960s. Some scientists at Bell Labs they test antennas for communications. They were noticing some noise that was in this antenna. No matter where they looked, there was this noise. Well, it turned out that was the signal, the so-called 3 degree Kelvin background from the Big Bang. A guy named John Mather, who's the senior project scientist for Webb, made an experiment in 1990 that measured the temperature of this background and found it was 2.73 Kelvin, a perfect fit to Big Bang theories. Since then, 2 other satellites have looked at microwave background in ever greater detail, and they keep more or less adding decimal places to the accuracy. So yeah, it's one of the best theories we have as far as being tested and being accurate.
At some point in all of astrophysics and all of this stuff, do you go far enough back where there is no answer, where you're like, well, I don't know, because me as a person that will always be like a pessimist or like devil's advocate, I'll say, well, where'd that come from? And then where'd the 2 things that collided come from? What's the furthest back that you go, and then beyond that, what's the thought?
Okay, so we'll follow Webb back. So Webb was designed to, I like to say, watch the universe turn the lights on. After the Big Bang, the universe was hot, expanded, and it cooled down, and so there was just hydrogen and helium atoms and gas, or just hydrogen and helium. Eventually, as it cools down, the gravity starts pulling all that stuff together, and when there's enough of it, it makes a star, and stars make galaxies. So that's what Webb we're going to look for that moment. So before that moment, there was this cold, dark gas. There was no light. We can look for that gas using radio telescopes, and someday we might put a radio telescope on the moon to look for that gas. But the hot surface that was the Big Bang, that's the 3 degree background. That's as far back as you can see. You can't see any farther back than that.
Yeah, it's fucking.
No, it's just speechless in here. It's just a lot.
Because and then when you say there's just gas, it's like, well, what does that mean? Like, what does it actually mean? What do you mean there's just gas there? Like, where'd that come from? What are we like in somebody's like computer that started with gas? Like what is that? Like, what is the gas? What is the nothingness? Is my question. Like, what is that? What is before the collision?
Well, we have, I like to say, science, you have to be able to measure something in science to test it. And so if it's before you can make a measurement, it's philosophy then.
So I think about this a lot. Is there Dr. Smith, is there a wall at the edge of the universe?
No, but there is point beyond which we can't see in the following sense. Because the universe is expanding, and the farther away it is from us, the faster it's expanding. Eventually, there's a point where the thing that's receding from you, because space is expanding now, space is expanding faster than light coming from it could ever get to us. So in that sense, there is an edge to the observable universe. And it's not that something's going faster than light, because light travels, space can be moving faster.
Expanding, I don't want you to answer this because it's going to make me puke, but it's like expanding into what?
So yeah, it's not expanding into anything. That's the there's nothing. It's space.
It's just getting bigger into nothing.
Yeah,
that'll make.
So
you
can't sleep at night believing that there's just it's expanding into nothing.
I
mean, it's expanding into something.
It has to be.
It has to be.
No, there's space is there's. That is one of the admittedly difficult to conceptualize ideas, but it's not like the Big Bang. It's not like somebody was sitting around, in like a really humongous living room in which the Big Bang happened. The Big Bang created space, and so it is space.
It is space.
Yeah.
Fuck. Well, Dr. Eric Smith, you've already given us 37 minutes. You're probably one of the best guests, if not the best guest we have on this very show. The so listeners, we're some golf podcast of just four idiots talking about just this game, and then we bring on the most intelligent, amazing, well-spoken person of all time that works for NASA. Thank you so much for giving us the time and coming on the show a second time. I really do genuinely appreciate it.
Oh, well, I love talking with you guys. You actually ask great questions, because these are questions that everyone wants to know the answers to. So, that's why it's fun for me to come here, because you ask great questions.
It's amazing. Thank you.
You're the man. We appreciate it. I know you're
Dr.
busy. You got a lot of exciting times. We're going to have you on again soon. Every time I see something on Twitter, Frankie, connect with him, get him on. You're just the best. You answer our questions. You're fun to hang out with, chat with, answer questions. Every time I think we're asking something that there's no way a human being on this earth could know an answer, I see you shaking your head like, yep, I know how to answer this. And you deliver every time. So we do appreciate it. I know you're busy. You have way more important, more intelligent human beings to talk to. So it means a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's figure out another place to live, because the sun thing freaks me out. We got 7 seconds here.
7 minutes.
7 minutes.
Okay. All right. That makes it a little bit better that I got 6.5 good minutes before my world could be over. So let's figure out another place to live so it doesn't cost $1 billion to travel in space. So go do that work, and we'll just continue to be four idiots.
Thank you, sir.
All right. You're welcome, guys. When we have that habitable exoplanet spectrum, have me back on then. We'll talk about it.
As much as you want to come back.
Coming right back here.
Thank you, Dr. Eric Smith.
All right. Bye-bye, guys.